Hey, welcome everyone back to the channel. I'm Carlos, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at how we can import our illustrations in Photoshop, bring those into InDesign, and actually do the page layouts for this kids book that we've been working on. So if you don't know, me and a really good friend of mine, Jack Kasperzak, got together and wrote a book, and we've been trying to show you guys all of the steps in the process of creating this book. And so I wanted to do this tutorial to show you guys how the page layout works, and then we'll start adding some words and stuff. The main focus of this video is to show you guys how we can arrange things in Photoshop and then bring those into InDesign and actually take a look at the flow of all of the pages for our kids book. So if you're interested in animation, illustration, movie making a kids book, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So let's go ahead and get into it. So here we are in Photoshop, and the very first thing that we're going to have to do is create what's called a layer comp. Here's my layer comp window. If you don't see your layer comp window, go up to window and drop down to layer comps. And these are all of the pages for the book. Page 1, obviously, and if I click here, we get to see what page 1 looks like. And obviously 2, 3, 4, all the way down. Let's go back to 1. I'm going to turn on this layer 71. And when I say turn the layers on and off, it's just this little eyeball right here. We're turning the visibility off and on. So I'm going to be working with layer 71. So I'm going to turn everything else off. This is what I want it to look like. So I'm going to come down to this plus button here and click that. Now we get this dialog box, and I'm going to label that page 33. And then the visibility, position, appearance, those are different things that we can use for a different video, but basically visibility is obviously just that. If you guys are interested in more uses for layer comps, let me know in the comments, and I'd be more than happy to make a video if that's something that interests you. Okay, so page 33, visibility is checked, so I'm going to click OK. So now, if I go and change the layer comp and go back down to page 33, there's our layer comp. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because we don't need that. Oh, there we go. And click yes. So now that layer comp is gone. Another thing that we can talk about as far as layer comps goes, let's say I had page 1 turned on, and then I added some drawings or some more layers to that. I'm going to drag it to where I need it to be as far as in the layer stack. So there we are, it's on the top. But if you notice, if I click on one, it disappears because that's how we set up that layer comp. But if we want that layer to be turned on, what I'm going to do is click that eyeball. And then you see down here, there's a little recycle or refresh button. I'm going to click on that. And you notice over here, you know that it's active because our little layer comp icon is turned on layer comp 1. If we go down to 2, go back up to 1. See, so that's updated. One of the reasons I like setting up layer comps in Photoshop is because these layer comps will end up being the pages within InDesign. Not just that, but when I finalize all of these illustrations, all I have to do is take that final illustration, drop it into this folder, and hit that recycle. But since we don't need that drawing, what we're going to do is move that back out of that folder. We're going to turn it off, and then we're going to hit that refresh button. We're in InDesign, and all I did was click on New File, and I named it Process Projects Book. Under Units, I'm going to go ahead and click Pixels. 2000 by 2000 is perfect because that is the dimensions for the file, the Photoshop file that we've been playing with. Under Pages, I'm going to enter 33. I know our Photoshop file says that we have 32 pages to this book, but I'm going to enter 33 here just to show you guys something, and I'll explain myself when we get into InDesign. I'm going to make sure that Facing Pages is turned on. Everything looks good, so I'm going to hit Create. Here's the layout for our book. I want you to pay attention to the right-hand side over here in the Pages panel. You see this one page that's just sitting here all by itself? Well, we don't necessarily need that page. Jack and I planned on having some empty pages in the beginning of the book, and the reason for that is, let's say this is our book, and we open our book and you see we have page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5. But when we go to bind this book together, page 5 needs extra real estate for the binding to properly work. So we don't need this first page, because if we take a look here, our first page is actually page 3 in this document here, or in this layout. So our first page is on the left side of the book, and this page 1 is on the right side of the book. So what I'm going to do is right click on that, drop down to where it says allow document pages to shuffle. And with page 1 still selected, I'm going to go ahead and hit the little trash can at the bottom. And now we have our proper layout. Page 1, page 2, 3, 4, all the way down to 31 and 32. So I'm going to click on page 1. Now I'm going to go up to File, Place, and I'm going to find our Photoshop file. Make sure that Show Import Options is checked. Replace selected item, that doesn't really matter to us. Show Import Options, and I'm going to click Open. Notice under Layer Comp, Last Document State, what I'm going to do is click on that and look at all of these layer comps. These are the ones that we created in the Photoshop file, right? So what I'm going to do is click on one, and everything else is fine. I'm going to click OK, and look how our page is stuck to the mouse. So now wherever I click, that's where that page will end up. I'm going to make sure that I come over here to the Free Transform tool. Now I can stretch that out, and if I hit the Shift key, it'll constrain the proportions. Under the Align panel, what I'm going to do is click on this button here and make sure that it says Align to Page. And now all I have to do is click Align Left, Align Top, and then again, I'm just going to resize our page and hit Shift. Drag that down to when it actually clicks in place. Okay, that's done. I'm going to come up to our selection tool, hit the Option key, click and drag. And what that is doing is it's making a direct copy of the first page. Now what I can do, now that I have a copy, is click on the Align to Top and Align to Right. But now we have two pages of the same exact drawing. What I'm going to do is right click on the one on the right hand side, drop down to Object Layer Options, and then under Layer Comp I'm going to drop down to 2 and click OK. Now if I hit Command or Control and the minus key, we can zoom out a little bit. We have our first two pages done. I'm going to make sure that I have my selection tool active. I'm going to click and drag a box over both of our pages. Again, hit Option, click and drag, and I'm going to hit Shift. And then it snaps into place. Now I'm going to click on the next page, right click, Layer Options. This is page 3. Click OK. Click on our fourth page, right click, Object Layer Options, and make sure that says 4. I'll go ahead and fast forward through this part so you guys don't get bored. And now that our pages are all laid out, if we wanted to, we can grab our Type tool, click and drag to make a box, and we're going to add words. And let's make that, I don't know, 125. And maybe we wanted something a little more fun, I don't know, like a felt marker or something. And now you can actually come in here and move the words around. Our page layout is done. How exciting is that? Now the next step I'm going to do is create a PDF of this and send it on over to Jack, or even better, look at this share button up here on the top right. I'm going to do a share for review. This is functionality that Adobe has really been pushing, and I think that this would be helpful if it's doing what I think it's going to do, and I'll create another video to talk about that whole experience and how to do that stuff. But basically what this would do, it has an online version of the book, and then both of us can look at the same file and give each other feedback on this functionality, but I haven't done it yet, so there's a video coming soon. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you know anyone else that's looking to get into animation, movie making, illustration, send this video on over to them. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. And if you notice, there's a little button right next to that. If you click that button with the little bell on it, every time I come out with a new video, you'll be alerted. And with that, we out.